I was this close to cheating on my wife.
I was thinking about cheating on my husband.
I was about to have an affair with this woman at work. There could have been me on the Coldplay Kiss Cam. Then a friend told me to download this app, and it saved my marriage. It's an app called Bible.
Bible is the only lifestyle and self-help app you need to avoid life's biggest pitfalls. Its step-by-step daily guidance for your life uses intelligence that's multiple times smarter than AI.
Now, I use Bible every day. It's helped me avoid all kinds of mistakes that could ruin my life, in relationships, with finances. It even helped with my depression. Bible uses proprietary technology called prayer that allows you to access insight and wisdom you could never have come up with on your own. Look, I still do dumb stuff, but with Bible, I don't feel like I'm just stumbling through life. It's like I'm on a better path.
Spelled B-I-B-L-E. Bible. Smart moves, better life. Download in the App Store and on Google Play.
I'm not a paid spokesperson, but I heartily endorse that app. It's amazing. And by the way, you can get that in written form. They have it. It's available in bookstores. So check it out. Welcome to Mark Mosley Show. I'm Mark Mosley. Karen would like to speak to the manager, please. Karen wants to talk to whoever's in charge. Actually, she doesn't want to talk to whoever's in charge. But get the manager out here right now. LA Mayor Karen Bass wants ICE to stop doing their actual job that they got hired to do. She's actually suing the Trump administration from enforcing the law. She would like them to stop enforcing the law. Like many activists on the hard left, she very suddenly has a problem with mass deportation. So far, in total, in his first term and this year, Trump has deported about 1.2 million people. Now, no way he will ever catch the all-time Hall of Fame great. We're talking about the legend, the man with a record of 5.2 million deportations, hailing from Chicago, Illinois, by way of Honolulu, Hawaii, the one and only undisputed champion of deportation, Barack Obama! Who at one point in his presidency was actually deporting lots and lots and lots of non-felons. That's right, those sweet abuelas cleaning the hotels and doing the jobs Americans won't do. But of course, the only sound we heard in the streets in those days was no violent protests, no shockingly well-funded, well-armed, well-organized, almost like they have sugar daddies, Antifa groups intent on murdering law enforcement officials in Texas. No King's Day. In fact, some on the left wrote op-eds about how they wanted Obama to act more like a king, according to the internet, which is now more forever than it's ever been. So Karen, let me speak to the manager, Bass. The mayor of LA wants ICE to stop catching the wanted felons who also happen to be here illegally. And let me say this. ICE would not be in the streets conducting broad raids in cities like Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, etc., if they could see their way clear to the wisdom of removing their sanctuary status. Because what they're doing is protecting illegal aliens who are wanted for serious crimes. See, the way it's supposed to work is local law enforcement arrests someone, okay? In a non-sanctuary city, they then call ICE if the person's here illegally, and then ICE comes over and they pick up that guy, that one person. Now, if Mayor Bass really wants to be compassionate to the illegal community at large, okay? I'll grant you this, okay? You want to be compassionate to the people who are just here, keeping their heads down. Get rid of your sanctuary city policy, because it's the sanctuary city policy that forces ICE to do these fishing expeditions, these broad sweeps. And what those broad sweeps mean is that some people who are simply here illegally but haven't committed any other crime, they sometimes get caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. and they get caught up with some felons, some MS-13 gang members that ICE is looking for. So you see, the actual compassionate position would be to get rid of your sanctuary city policies, because then fewer non-felons would get caught up in these raids. But they can't see that because these people they're not just infected with TDS. They have been assimilated into the TDS Borg. See, the left has just jockeyed themselves into the very, very shrewd position of defending violent Central American gang members. Like Abrego Garcia, remember that guy? Back when Democrat members of Congress flew down to El Salvador and had lunch with him.
Hi, we're the Democrat Party, and President Trump is bad. Whatever he's doing is unconstitutional and a clear threat to our republic, democracy. Like deporting poor Maryland fathers to El Salvador. But because we Democrats care so very much, we're asking you to help these poor Maryland fathers. Won't you give to our charity, Massages for MS-13? Your donation helps pay for much-needed therapy for these poor fathers who are in highly stressful prison environments through no fault of their own. Some of them have pulled shoulder muscles from striking their wives and desperately need massage therapy for pain relief. And that's what we provide. While blissful New Age music plays, warm, herb-infused oils are rubbed all over their completely tattooed bodies. Sure, we could use taxpayer money to pay for massages for MS-13, but we've already spent a lot of it just flying to El Salvador and staying at one of the few luxury hotels in the country. Hotels that don't even have the good quality adult pay-per-view. So please, won't you help? Go to massagesforms13.com and make a donation today. Because these guys didn't even get due process. Whatever that means. Massages for MS-13. From the same people who brought you hugs for Hamas.
It's Mark Mosley Show. Follow Mark on X, Instagram, and Facebook at Mark Mosley. And subscribe for new episodes weekly on your favorite podcast platform.
Back to Karen. Karen is now doubling down on helping to aid and abet felons sought by the federal government. That's what's happening here. You are protecting, quote, all immigrants, making no distinction between legal and illegal. They never do. And in the process, you are protecting MS-13 gang members. You're doing kind of the opposite of what you say ICE is doing. ICE is conducting broad raids. You're enacting broad policies that just happen to shield felons from being brought to justice. And she wants to give illegals cash money at a time when the city of Los Angeles has a $1 billion deficit. She's giving away free. I'm giving away free money. And where is the Batman? He's at home washing his tights. No, seriously, she has a 5-point plan to help Central American drug cartels continue to murder in the city of Los Angeles. 5-point plan. Number 1, executive directive to strengthen sanctuary protections. Translation, making the illegal more legal than they were legal before. Number 2, free movie tickets for Elio. Just show your MS-13 gang tattooed knuckles at the box office for a family 4-pack to see Disney Pixar's latest spectacular flop. Number 3, cash relief for raided families. Not coming out of the city coffers, apparently, but philanthropic partners will issue prepaid debit cards, a few $100s each. Man, where do I join Tren de Aragua? Number 4, a Bass phone. It's kind of like the Obama phones. This is a free cell phone plus free minutes to call anywhere in the U.S. and Mexico. It also comes preloaded with a Sicario on speed dial. And number 5, a future LA protest starter pack. Comes with shockingly professional-looking protest signs, a neck gaiter to stay cool in the sun, and a jagged chunk of concrete. And surprise, 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 another judge has ruled that Trump must stop. He just must. Why? Because we said so. Thanks, Mom. ICE must stop doing their actual job description. Now, at least this isn't a nationwide injunction. It only covers the LA area, but this is just not going to stop, is it? Trump needs to just go ahead and sign an executive order. We are signing an executive order, and I'm declaring myself to be a circuit court judge. No, wait a minute, a 3-judge panel. Starting today, I am not only the president, but I am also a 3-judge circuit court panel, and I will overrule all lower courts anytime I want. Well, he can't do that, can he? No. But no one can do half the things that we're doing right now. It's anarchy. Anarchy. Meanwhile, back at the pot farm, Gavin Newsom, or Gruesome Newsom, we call him Gruesome Newsom because he looks like a Beverly Hills mortician, doesn't he? I'm so sorry for your loss, and is the widow Johnson seeing anybody right now? Let's get your husband in the ground and maybe we'll get a drink afterwards. Gavin, of course, heard about the pot farm raid and being a very shrewd and savvy politician, rushed to cameras and microphones as quickly as possible to attack the use of tear gas on women and children at the pot farm. Hang on a second. Did you say children? What were children doing in the fields at the pot farm? The Babylon Bee had the perfect story for this. I love the Bee. It helped inspire me to do this show. To be fair, the Babylon Bee will call the right out. There's a Babylon Bee article just out that says, headline, Republicans celebrate $9 billion in spending cuts after passing bill that adds $3 trillion to national debt. But the Babylon Bee had a great story on this Gavin Newsom pot farm. Gavin Newsom declares California a sanctuary state for child slavery. In the latest front on his war against the Trump administration's immigration policies, Governor Gavin Newsom officially declared California a sanctuary state for child slavery. The announcement followed on the heels of Newsom expressing outrage over ICE launching operations to rescue unaccompanied minor immigrants from working in California's marijuana fields, with the governor seeking to provide child slavers with a safe place to do their business. Quote, "It's our duty to provide a place for child slaves to work without fear," Newsom told reporters. "Here in California, we still look to build a bright future where child slavery can flourish without the dark cloud of interference from the federal government. I will continue to stand up boldly on behalf of child traffickers everywhere. As long as I'm governor, California is the place for child slavery." One child trafficker who spoke under the condition of remaining anonymous was relieved by Newsom's announcement. "It's great to hear," he said. "It's getting more and more difficult to find places where we can set up shop and really traffic some kidnapped children. Thanks to Gavin Newsom, we can keep fighting to sell these kids for good prices and get rich off of doing horrible things. Thank you, Governor Newsom." The Association of Child Slave Traffickers also gave Newsom's declaration its enthusiastic approval. At publishing time, Newsom announced that any ICE agent who agreed to stop their immigration enforcement operations would receive a free child slave. Yeah, what Gavin really didn't seem to understand there in the beginning was that 8 of the kids that were found there were unaccompanied minors. Now, before you just wave that aside, what does that mean? What does the term unaccompanied minor mean? It means that the children that Donald Trump is separating from their families had already been separated from their families. And I'm guessing that maybe some of those families didn't hand their kids over willingly. In fact, one of the adults apprehended during the raid was a Mexican national previously convicted of attempted child molestation, kidnapping, and attempted rape. So, yeah, we're talking about there were human traffickers at the pot farm. Now, of course, the media's spin on this, because they found an angle that they could spin, a U.S. Army veteran was arrested during the immigration raid, and he said he was sprayed with tear gas and pepper spray before being dragged from his vehicle and pinned down by federal agents who then arrested him. He was held for, I think, 3 days. They, vetted him and find out, okay, you can go. He works as a security guard at that pot farm, and he was arriving to work on July 10th when federal agents surrounded his car. And despite him identifying himself as a U.S. citizen, which you, I, or anyone else would have also done, whether we were or not, broke his window, pepper sprayed him, dragged him out of his car. He says this can happen to anyone. Yes, it can happen to anyone. And that's the point. That's the point that I was making earlier about how people get caught up in these raids because California is a sanctuary state. Los Angeles is a sanctuary city. It just emphasizes the point that we need all legal immigration. Legal immigration. But Gavin Newsom's body is just so riddled with stage 4 TDS. It causes him, he can't help it, because, one of the major symptoms of stage 4 TDS is the constant stepping on of rakes. He cannot help but step on these rakes. Not the kind of rakes, by the way, that would rake the forest to prevent wildfires, which, by the way, it's another thing that Newsom is accusing Trump now of starting because they cut federal funding to the state of California, even though the state of California is looking at a nearly $60 billion deficit over the next 2 years. They need to rake the forests. And that's Trump's job. We need to rake the forest. We need to hoover the forest. We need to sweep the forest. We need to Roomba the forest floors. We're going to deploy millions of those little carpet robots, and they will constantly roam the forest floors. And the very second a leaf falls, they will be there to scoop it right up. And we're going to have the cleanest forest floors that you've ever seen. And very quickly. You're listening to Mark Mosley Show, and J.D. Vance is talking about something in the big, beautiful bill that I did not know about. You probably didn't either, because the media is not going to report the good stuff that's in here. And besides, the left doesn't think this is a good idea to begin with. But apparently, every baby born between January 1st, 2025, the beginning of this year, and December 31st, end of 2028, receives a one-time $1,000 seed deposit into a new, you'll love this, the left will hate it, Trump account. Trump brands everything. He is the consummate brand. He's the consummate salesman. He puts his brand on stuff. It's a Trump account, so-called Trump account. Listen, who knows if it's actually going to be called that, but I wouldn't be surprised. It is a tax advantage savings account which will be set up automatically when your child is born, provided the child is a U.S. citizen with a Social Security number and at least one parent provides a valid Social Security number as well. So not only does the baby have to be born in the United States, but one of the parents has to be a citizen. So there you go. That's that first part right there. That'll make the left see red rats because it's not going to so-called anchor babies. There are no income limits. All eligible families qualified regardless of earnings. Funds go into an IRA-style investment account invested in low-cost index funds, for example, the S&P 500. Parents can add up to $5,000 a year with a $2,500 tax-free employer contribution limit. So I guess from mom or dad's job, they can put money in as well. For a second there, I'm thinking, oh, are these the kids working at the pot farm? No, they're not. These are the money would come from the parent's employer, not the child's employer. They're not setting up retirement funds for the kids at the pot farm. Vice President J.D. Vance, Senator Ted Cruz, and others describe it as pro-family, a pro-family policy, building early equity and promoting market participation from a young age. You bet. I mean, we all know. Everybody talks about the miracle of compound interest. Imagine you got $1,000 when you're born, and then if your parents are aggressive about it and add money to it, you'll be able to retire at 35. Forget 55. You're going to have enough money to retire at 35. And wouldn't that be a horrible thing? But people on the left see this as a bad investment in America. They don't like the big, beautiful bill, even though the left does love to spend money. Well, to be fair, politicians on both sides of the aisle in D.C. love to spend money. But the left seems to think that, again, we're making tax cuts for the billionaires and millionaires, permanent. And you've heard people in the media kind of sneer at the ideas in the Big Beautiful Bill that mean something to average people. They either don't understand or don't remember what it was like to get your paycheck, and by Friday at 6 o'clock, you've got $20 left to buy food to get you to next week. And I've been there. I remember being 18 years old. I moved out of my parents' house, and I was like, I'm going to make it on my own. You get your paycheck, and you've got hardly anything left, and you got $20 for food. And I've done it. You buy a big bag of beans and rice, and you're having beans and rice for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But people in the media, they don't get that there are millions of Americans for whom these piddly things, these things that they look down their noses at, are significant. Here are some of the things in the Big Beautiful Bill that do not make the rich get richer. Okay? Let's go through these. No tax on tips. If you're working in any hospitality business, restaurants, whatever, tips are huge. No taxes on tips. Millionaires and billionaires, they do not work for gratuities. No tax on overtime. Millionaires and billionaires, while they do put in a lot of hours every week, they work their butts off, typically not on an hourly basis. No tax on overtime is huge. It's big. No tax on Social Security. Musk and Gates and Bezos are not sweating Social Security. They're just not. They're not worried about it. They don't care if it's not going to be there when they need it. Social Security for them is about as significant as the royalty checks that Eddie Murphy gets in the mail for Meet Dave.
Say, man, Meet Dave was a tremendous movie. I don't appreciate that joke.
Moving on, deductible interest on your American car purchase. Billionaires they're traveling in private jets, not in a Chevy Trax. And child tax credit made permanent for 40 million families. Okay, at the rate he's impregnating women everywhere, Elon might actually be interested in this one. But there are a lot of things in the Big Beautiful Bill that the left are upset about. In fact, here are the top 10 things in the Triple B that the liberals want you to know about. Number 10, billions will lose health care. That's right. 7 times the entire U.S. population will not have access to any medicine other than mRNA vaccines and abortion pills. The undocumented will be hit hardest, having no documents. A lack of documents being a key feature of being undocumented. Number 9, blood will drip from the walls. That's right, you may not have heard, but Republicans' billionaire friends have perfected blood-dripping wall technology. Probably Musk. Sounds like the kind of thing he'd work on. Number 8, the rich will get richer. Just like every single thing Republicans have ever done, rich friends of theirs will profit at the hands of all others. As I always say, Republicans are the party of rich people, and Democrats are the party of different rich people. But the Big Beautiful Bill somehow filters all of those people out, and the money only goes to the rich who happen to be friends of Republicans. Democrat rich friends are out of luck. Number 7, the dead will walk the earth. That's right, the Big Beautiful Bill will not only kill billions, but then those people will get up and walk around eating the human flesh of people who are picking our tomatoes. Who will pick our tomatoes? Number 6, immigrants, making no distinction between legal or illegal, will all, not some, all be rounded up and put in prisons surrounded by sharks with frickin' laser beams attached to their heads. We can't possibly deport 20 million people, but we somehow can find them all and round them all up. Every single one. Number 5, blood will run in the streets. That's right, that same blood gushing from the walls will find its way outdoors and fill up America's gutters with blood. Number 4, Donald Trump will become a demigod. Yes, the Big Beautiful Bill gives Donald Trump control of a magical sword with the power to defeat mythical beasts like centaurs and gorgons. Also, he will finally release the Kraken. Number 3, the debt will explode to levels we've never seen. Now, this one will actually happen because that's what debt does. The feckless, gutless, spineless Congress, left and right, refuse to do the work to make the debt go down. So the debt is constantly going up and thus exploding to levels we've never before seen. It's a little like Schumer predicting that the Georgia Bulldogs will make it to a bowl game. Number 2, dogs and cats living together. Yes, following 40 years of darkness, earthquakes, volcanoes, and human sacrifice, will come at last the dreaded dogs and cats living together. Oh, and mass hysteria. And the number 1 thing in the big beautiful bill that the left wants you to know about, Iraqi Sesame Street will be unfortunately defunded, along with Sudanese 60 Minutes, and tragically there will now be no longer the planned Baywatch Gaza. That's right, you will not get to see women running on a beach in slow motion wearing burqas. I'm Mark Mosley. Don't forget to follow me on X, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at Mark Mosley, Mosley. And please share this show. Don't call it a podcast. Don't call it a podcast. That infers mediocrity. Please share the show with a friend. Please share it with everybody that you know, because that's the only way this show can grow. It's time for This Week in Media Bias, and this is a doozy. Scott Jennings recently on CNN, and the discussion about the economy and prices turns to the price of eggs. Let me set up what you're going to hear. Jennings is going to say that the price of eggs is down since Trump became president. And the panel is going to push back with, no, the price of eggs is not down year over year. Take a listen.
But it seems like a lot of panic for no reason. You're getting matched reports every month.
It's not panic when we were promised on August 15th of last year that the price of eggs, that the price of bacon, and the price of apples. Actually, eggs year over year are up
last year?
Are up 27%.
They're down. I'm sorry. He took office, they're down.
But if year over year.
He promised when he took office they would go down.
Hold on. Let's not fight about statistics here. She's right. Year over year, they are up significantly. Month over month, they've gone down, but that's from their high, which occurred partly due to bird flu and other things.
Right. So let's be very clear. He promised 3 things: the price of eggs, the price of bacon, and the price of apples were going to go down. I can quote him. It was on August 15th of last year. He said they're going to go down almost immediately when I become president. All of them are up. They're up year over year, and that's a fact. And these, you think it's hysteria or whatever you called it. People are suffering. You know how I know this? Because I heard all about that from you last year when I would debate you, and you kept talking about how the price of eggs is really high. Well, guess what? It's much higher now than it was when you and I were debating.
We're literally lying about the eggs.
Wait, excuse me.
They're up. No, whoa. Guys, stop. Okay, Scott, before you accuse her of lying, I literally just went over this. She is correct that year over year, the price...
Since Donald Trump took office, what happened to the eggs?
Oh, my God. Do you not understand that the difference between...
Who was the president last year at this time?
Scott, do you understand?
And then when did they spike?
Julie, let me just resolve this so we can move on, because it's a silly conversation.
You totally derailed this conversation. She's trying to have a serious panel.
You are derailing the conversation.
No, I'm not.
Pardon me.
She's not telling the truth about the eggs.
But you're derailing the conversation, okay? I think people have the ability to understand the difference between the price of eggs today and the price of eggs a year ago today versus what you would prefer to talk about, which is the price of eggs when Donald Trump was inaugurated. You're just talking about You're talking about 2 different time horizons, okay? Let's just leave it at that and move on. Please.
So they kept insisting that Scott was wrong, and he... well, listen, we can Monday morning quarterback pundits all day. What he should have said, to his detriment, he did not shut them down by saying, look, we're both right. You guys are right, and I'm also right. That probably would have shut them down. But here are the facts. Here's where CNN is right. In July 2024, eggs were $2.40 a dozen, national average. That's less than what it is today. But in January of 2025, when Trump became president, the price of eggs was around $4.95 a dozen. And now today, the price of eggs is $2.95 a dozen. So the price of eggs has come down. But yes, CNN is correct. Year over year, the price of eggs is still not what it was in July of last year. So they know that Scott is correct when he points out that the price of eggs is down under Trump, but they can't let him be right. So they have to put the disingenuous spin on it that they did. Look, politics is all about spin. A government report comes out and we did this in radio. I don't know exactly how it works today, but traditionally when the ratings would come out, and your station was down overall in the ratings, you would look for the spot where you could say, oh, but our numbers with women went up. So then your sales team could go out and tell clients that. So It's all about looking for the positive data points within the data set. So when a government report comes out, it's a bunch of data points, and you look for the ones that favor the narrative of whether you're on the left or you're on the right. But the folks in the media really, I think they're really desperate right now to get Trump on anything. They're looking for cracks in the dam because so far, I mean, Trump is just crushing it. He's just knocking them out of the park. I think at this point, he ought to be on YouTube giving a master class on being president. You know what? Let's see what ChatGTP says. Trump were to do a master class on YouTube, what would that look like? Oh, here we go. This is not bad. Visual, slow motion American flag waving. Dramatic cinematic music begins. Cue the dramatic cinematic music. Narrator, Trump voiceover. They said it couldn't be done, but I did it. I wasn't a politician. I was a businessman until I became President of the United States. Cut to clips of Trump at rallies in the Oval Office at the UN, walking across the White House lawn. Trump to camera. People always ask me, how did you do it? Now, I'm going to show you. Title on screen, Donald J. Trump teaches the art of the presidency, a master class. We'll talk about deals, real deals, peace in the Middle East, China, the border, the economy, the fake news media, all of it. Cut to footage of him signing executive orders. This is really good. Meeting world leaders, pointing at maps. Trump to camera. Being president isn't about reading from a teleprompter. It's about strength. It's about instinct. It's about winning. Cut to stylized images of the Constitution, campaign rallies, red hats. Trump closing line. This isn't politics 101. This is how to lead a nation. Trump style. I'm not crazy about that last line, but overall, that was not bad. Not bad. All right, well done, ChatGTP. Here's a dime. But whatever Trump does, it's going to be the wrong thing. And it doesn't matter. He could have found the cure for cancer, and the media's spin would be, well, he's going to destroy the pharmaceutical industry. Trump's going to destroy the pharmaceutical industry. They're going to lose money and lose jobs. Thanks, Ron Burgundy. I'm coming back with making deals with the devil, and we'll end on a lighter note, a non-political note, with the doofus of the week. And this story is hilarious. So the left is still mad at Donald Trump for bombing Iran without checking with them first. And he shouldn't have done it. And of course, if he hadn't done it and Iran had turned Tel Aviv into a smoking crater, that would have also been wrong. I'm kind of glad that Trump has figured this out. It doesn't matter what he does. It's the wrong thing. And of course, Jasmine Crockett, she Googled it. So it's got to be true. The president cannot bomb places without getting congressional approval, Congress's permission. And of course, Joe Biden would never do anything remotely so king-like, except for the 5 times that he did it, when he bombed Syria, Somalia, Afghanistan, Yemen, and the Houthis in the Red Sea. But surely President Obama never did anything without congressional approval. Well, now, hold on a second. Hang on a second now. We always, without exception, got congressional approval for any military action we took, except for Libya, Syria, Iraq, Pakistan, Yemen, Somalia, and Uganda. But other than that, no double standard. No double standard. So Jasmine Crockett, simmer down. But we need congressional approval. Yes, let's definitely wait on Congress, or as I like to call them, America's George Costanza. They've worked so hard this year to avoid work. Let's wait on Congress. And some people have gone so far now as to position Iran as the victim in all of this. The victim. Yes, the people who have been chanting death to Israel, death to America for 50 years. We shouldn't take them at their word. We should take them at their word, but not at those words, at other words that they say. So yes, Israel is the aggressor and Iran is the victim. And of course, this is this is the typical anti-Zionist, anti-Israel propaganda that we hear all over the world. Of course, some of the fringe people on the left and the right have gone as far as to accuse Donald Trump of being controlled by Israel. So wait, let me get this straight. Hitler is being controlled by the Jews. That's a hell of a narrative. I'm going to tell you right now. Hitler is controlled by the Jews. Got it. Solid thinking there. That's great. That's great logic. Well, now Iran is pretty much admitting that we've destroyed their nuclear capabilities. The president of Iran has come out and said that their facilities are, quote, severely damaged. And of course, we have to assume that anything Iran says is laced with layers of propaganda. The truth is also buried under 300 feet of rock. So read that as, our nuclear program has been completely destroyed. But he also told Tucker Carlson that Iran never intended to develop a bomb. That's why you kept going past the 3 to 5% enrichment that you need. And that's why you were at 60% enrichment in facilities that were buried under 300 feet of rock. Because every country that is developing nuclear power for purely peaceful purposes always buries their enrichment facilities inside of a mountain. Yeah, but we should totally trust Iran. Again, they've been chanting death to Israel, death to America for going on 50 years now. But I guess, some of the Democrats in Congress and in the media truly are this naive. And it makes me wonder if they would not, in fact, negotiate with the devil himself.
Hello, I'm Bernie Sanders, and the Democrats in Congress would like to announce that we just completed a successful negotiation with Satan, who, by the way, has a heck of a smile. He has promised to adhere to certain new conditions. Now, the big news is, from now on, you won't go to hell unless you have committed at least one capital crime. You can steal up to $950 worth of stuff, and just like in the state of California, you get away with it. You must commit a capital crime. With the exception of treason, we agreed to take treason off the list, as that would mean we'd just lose too many members of Congress. Satan has also agreed to make hell less hot. He's going to set the thermostat in hell to 78 degrees, so the temperature in hell will feel more like most of the homes in California. Satan being a big fan of Gavin Newsom. Also, from here on, hell will have Casual Friday. I'm sorry, I'm reading that wrong. It's Causal Friday, where the things you did in life have consequences. Actually, that's not a good one. But here's a big one. Going forward, there will be coffee in hell. Now, it won't be Starbucks. Mostly Pete's. Sorry, that's the best we could do. But those things are all over LA. I think the big takeaway here is that in many ways, the new hell will be largely indistinguishable from the state of California. We, the Democrats, are very confident that we can trust Satan to stick to his word. After all, he's never lied to anyone before. Thank you.
It's Mark Mosley Show. Subscribe for new episodes weekly on your favorite podcast platform. And follow Mark on X, Instagram, and Facebook at Mark Mosley.
It's Mark Mosley Show. Don't forget to follow me on social media at Mark Mosley. It's time for the doofus of the week. And it's a cautionary tale about why you shouldn't cheat on your spouse. So a husband in the UK was having an affair with a woman from work, and he and the woman would meet up at his house every Friday morning. So the morning routine was the family would get up, shower, eat breakfast, brush their teeth, kids would head off to school, mom to work, and dad to work, and the house was empty. Well, the husband would double back and meet up with his girlfriend. And he got caught. And it's the way he got caught that's the funny part. Because, you have to be careful in today's connected world where you're being tracked and monitored by just about everything. Everywhere you go, even in your own home. Well, this cheating hubby would come back to the house to meet his mistress, And, wanting to be his freshest for her, he would brush his teeth with one of the toothbrushes his wife bought to track when and for how long the kids were brushing. Yes, a blue toothbrush, if you will, that included a day and time stamp of when the brush was being used. And his wife noticed on the app, gee, that's funny. This data shows that my husband's toothbrush is being used on Fridays at 10:30 in the morning when he's supposed to be at work. So, congrats, cheating UK hubby. Guess it's not as bad as getting caught on the Coldplay concert kiss cam, but you are the doofus of the week.
You're a big stupid doofus.
Well, that's the show, folks. New episodes every Monday. Please subscribe to the show to get new episodes on your favorite podcast platform. And please give us a like, a thumbs up, a glowing review on iTunes. Honestly, that's going to help me more than anything to spread the word about this show. And follow me on social media at Mark Mosley. I'll see you next week. And until then, may God bless you with health, joy, and wisdom.